Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello, welcome. It's Riftkin, session 10.
What Riftkin are in the ranch area, by the way?
So it depends how far you want to go. If you stay within the walls, you're going to see mostly pigsties.
And you said scrap yaps, right?
Yeah, so the scrap yaps are just kind of like any sort of wild dogs in any big city. Most of them, if you have food, are pretty friendly. Food for them would be small scraps of metal, little kind of cogs and wheels. They will chase the radicogs around in the streets. If they could catch a clock, they would probably eat one. You'll see a few elecolts, usually being led by somebody, and lots and lots and lots of pigsties, and the occasional gore.
So there's not any like wild elecolts. They're just usually already tamed by somebody.
Not in like the traditional sense. But there will be elecolts kind of out and about, but they're useful as like pack animals.
Okay.
So it would be a case where like you would be negotiating, similar to how you came across the rail wraith. You would be like, hey, I'm in the business for an elecolt. So it would be like a business transaction. And then if you were to be like, yo, I'm going to spring you, they'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But then, if you start your relationship on that note, they might feel a little bit kind of stuck. But yeah, if you were to look hard enough for an elecolt without a tamer, you would not have to look very hard. I will put it that way. Most of the Riftkin here are being herded, but are not tamed.
Okay.
So,
but like if I were to just go tame one, I'd probably get in trouble, right?
That depends.
Just walk up.
Walk up.
That one.
You're mine.
Excuse me, and then you just like just wrap them up in a bunch of like webs.
Into you.
And you're like, now I have all the powers of a pony.
Good God.
I'm going to pull the train. But yeah, I'll throw it out for you guys. If there's a Riftkin species that is around that you see and you're looking for a wild one, it is not impossible for you to find one that is not attended and seems to just be kind of free of the yoke and is walking around.
Okay, well, I guess what I'm going to do something similar to Buck. I'm going to go out, and I'm basically going to go looking for an elecolt. Okay. We can get back to that, but just because it's safer in the city, that's probably where I'm going to start heading out, because I do want an elecolt, so. Okay. And I'll just be off on my own with Sai.
I'll say the Shepherd's District is pretty wide open. There's not a lot of, like, big, tall buildings. There's a few,
flat
like...
farms.
Kind of, yeah. So it's more like still walled-in pastures. Because, again, this is more of a storage place for at night, during storms, bad weather, anything going on. They'll bring a lot of the livestock in. So it's a pretty wide-open, expansive part of the district. Mostly pretty tame lawns, a few cobbled paths, but you start to get into a point where the smaller roads are still just dirt. And it seems like the Shepherd's District has been absorbed in more recent years. For those of you from Carcasso, that is objectively what has happened. It's only in the last 20 years or so. Towards the end of the war, they started walling in some amount of food and livestock on the off chance that the Sidrons got a little too ambitious and started setting fire to the fields. So they would have something inside the walls to hold out in the event of a siege.
I would like to... So I know you gave us a sort of back bit on Reykjav. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And I know you said it's like an individual thing, how people like come to their sort of religious.
Yeah.
Am I able to go visit that little boy, or is that kid like separate?
He was not being held in the constabulary when you were there.
Okay.
So if you can
like
find him,
is there like a hospital like where you take?
Yeah, there are
shot children.
Yeah. Like where do the injured go? Like where would I go?
So the injured would end up usually in the military district, because that is primarily where the injured will appear. The sick or the infirm would end up in an infirmary.
Right.
And those are located in every district because it makes sense to have somebody close by that can look after you.
Yeah.
There are kind of, I was going to say free range, but I meant freelance. There are freelance physicians located throughout the city.
Okay.
House Hakone, the owners of the House of Mercy, are one such family.
Great.
So they are the reason that Irida Hakon was dressed as a physician is because that is her trade. So the House of Mercy would be somewhere to go, but they cater to a more specific kind of people, so you would not find that young boy there.
I have questions about this young apprentice informer for Lao Tzu. When he was speaking to me, he spoke of a demon.
When who was speaking to you?
Lao Tzu.
When he was speaking that language, that was at you?
Yes.
I
understood him.
What did he say?
He spoke about a demon.
What?
Rikyav.
Lao Tzu told you he was coming here?
He said he's coming, and I feel like he meant coming for me,
For you specifically?
or perhaps just here. You as in everyone that does not believe what he believes.
Ah, so it's just a general threat.
Yes. Jury dismissed.
T, unrelated. You didn't see that Squires that challenged me to a duel?
No.
Are you aware of any magic that could do such a thing? And I'll show her. I've got this cardboard sword, and I will grab a piece of paper and like slice it to show that it's like real, even though it looks fake. It gave it to me, and we dueled. Clearly on some level this is real, right? Is there some magic that you know of that it could make either it invisible or this take place in my mind but still be real?
Peculiar, may I?
Hand it to her. Turn it around safely though.
Yeah.
Just stab me.
Yeah, check it out. Hey, Adelaide, catch. She only has 11 hit points.
And then I'm gonna just like try to cut some grass or something and see if it works.
Yeah,
the same for me.
It slices like any blade. It has like the expectant weight of a metal sword, but it's cardboard.
Huh.
Is this an illusion?
This to an outsider, to those not wielding it. But when I hold it, it's as if it is a sword.
Yeah, is it like an illusion just to make it look that way? Can you dispel it?
Can I take a close look?
Yeah, you
At
can make an arcane test.
Let's arcane it.
It's 25.
25,
again.
yeah.
You guys stop making 25s on every roll. There are plenty of magics, both short-term, long-term, permanent, and transient, that would bring your will into existence for some amount of time.
Can I tell if this is permanent, transient?
It appears to be permanent, but the only way to tell is
To
it
wait.
would wear off.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah. Time
Stare
will
at it.
tell you everything, but typically as long as the bearer's a will, or whoever is bringing about this thing, as long as their will remains intact, it will function as expected. From your limited exposure to squires, because they're not the most common thing, for them it's as simple as breathing, where for a person you'd have to study for decades to get anywhere near what they're capable of. But a squires can roll up a piece of armor, slap it on themselves, and you couldn't drill into it. Even though it's made of cardboard, functionally there's no explanation for it. Which is why they are so interesting, and thus they're so rare.
It seems as if this is imbued with sort of a magic of illusion, but it comes to the user's will, and I don't know how long it will last.
So, are you saying you believe me that I encountered a Squires?
Yes.
Thank you.
I've never doubted you, Callum.
If you're going off to investigate further,
Yes.
Adelaide and Callum will take a look at the pigsty cultivators when the time comes to see how they're cultivated.
Faraday! We're looking for an Ellicult!
We are.
So go ahead and do awareness, tracking, or one of those two.
I have mastery and awareness.
An
Yeah.
Ellicult
Can I
check.
add one little like detail to it?
Yeah.
I want to look for an Ellicult that seems to be the outcast or
Oh.
is maybe picked on by the other Ellicults with this roll. Is that okay?
Okay, so we're going to do a 2-part roll.
Okay.
It's going to be a nested check. So
Okay.
start with awareness.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll explain the whole thing as we go.
7.
7?
Can I give him mastery since I have awareness too?
Yeah, that's how we
Got
do.
you, buddy.
Throw that mastery.
Add an
baby.
extra 3.
Extra
10.
3, so 10. Like I said, easy enough to find several Ellicles. A whole bunch.
My last mastery die, that was
There.
for you, buddy.
They're all around.
I got one. I'll give you one.
There
no
you go.
worries.
So it's easy enough to find a couple Ellicles. Now what we're going to do, we're going to make an intuition test to find the one that doesn't really fit in.
Okay. 17.
Ooh! Jinx. Just kidding. It's in our audio-based show. You're not allowed to speak. You sit there in silence with both your characters and think about what you didn't do. All right. Among the Ellicolts, there is one they have these little kind of like dowsing rods on the top of their head. They're able to locate sources of rift energy around. They're able to kind of detect intense elemental disturbances, which is how they will kind of transcend to the next phase of their life. So they'll become, a blue mare would go find a forest in dire need of care and attention. So it is easy enough for you to find one such Ellicult that is kind of hiding in some of the back alleys, kind of looking around. It seems like a little timid, maybe a little skittish. And the other Ellicolts are all kind of like staying in a big pack, and he's kind of off on his own.
So then I would like to approach this one, but first I want to look for some maybe Ellicult food, whatever they might eat. I would assume it's just grass or hay that's readily available. And I'm going to pick some of that up and try to approach.
Okay. Go ahead and make a taming test. You have mastery in it because you are a tamer at heart and in practice.
17.
17's
Again.
pretty dang good. Okay. It's very timid. It kind of recoils as you approach. And you go, why do you recoil? I am no thief. And you approach with your hay and your grass. It will come out, kind of starts munching on some of the hay. It seems a little bit on the scrawny side. It's got kind of it's got very like Disney donkey vibes, where like the legs are kind of little Bambi step going, a little unsure of itself. Seems very young, but there's no sign of anyone kind of caring for it. But it will happily eat some hay, some grass.
And I know it definitely won't understand me, but I'm going to ask it, why are you all alone? Like, just kind of like, why are you by yourself?
It'll kind of take another step closer to go get a little more hay out of your head, try to start licking your palm. And one of its legs seems to be a little bit on the wonky side, where it kind of like can't really support its weight. It's maybe like a little bit on the lame side. Not in the 90s sense, but in like the horse leg sense.
And then
He could still shred if he wants to. He's not lame.
Got a half pipe.
I guess I'll have Bud point that out. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
totally.
his leg is a little.
Absolutely.
And then I'll just reach out to pet him,
Okay.
and hopefully he'll let me pet him.
Yeah.
And I'll let him know that I have people that might be able to help him
Okay.
with his leg.
Yeah. He's currently like licking all up and down your hand where the hay was. He's getting the bandages kind of a little soggy, but he doesn't seem to mind. You're all like wrapped up. He's otherwise just kind of chill, kind of happy to be walking around. You see a couple of the other Ellicolts, they've all kind of stopped and they're all just staring blankly at it. And it gets this kind of like happy little wiggle to it.
And then I'm going to do one more thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's around, right? Nobody can see me?
Yeah, if you want to be secretive about it. He's
No,
in an alley.
I'm
He's
not
like-
stealthing. What I'm
Oh, yeah.
saying is, like, nobody is, like, actively looking at me, right?
Yeah, nobody's looking at you.
So then I pull my hood off and my mask down to show the Ellicult that I am also injured.
And
Adelaide's gonna be so
Adelaide
jealous.
takes off her Ellicult mask. I got him. Okay. So you remove your mask and your bandages, and it's unflinching. It doesn't. There's no judgment in those eyes. It just kind of stares. Big old horse glare at you.
And then I guess I'll try and tame it at this point. I'll ask if it would like to join me on my
Okay.
quests.
It stares a little blankly, but go ahead and make a taming test.
And
So you're
then
going to
what is
roll your D100.
53.
53? Okay. So you are not in combat with this Ellicult,
Mhm.
which means you would suffer no debuffs to your roll. You just fed it, which means you're technically assisting it.
Mhm.
So you got a plus 30 to your roll. So you're at 85 right now. That's pretty good. The Riftkin has a positive opinion of the tamer. You gave it food. She had 105. Pretty good place to be starting. Its willpower, this is where things get a little bit crazy. It's at its maximum hit points. It's not necessarily seeking aid. It's just happy to be here.
Mhm.
So it does get a debuff to the roll of 20 times its level. And its level is currently 2. So that's minus 40. So we're down to 65, which is still
Net positive.
it's still in the good. That's still in the good range. And then it doesn't have any status effects, so there's no plus or minus there. So 65 is good. What we're looking for on an Ellicult is a taming roll of a 35. So 65 is more than good.
Okay.
So yes, this Ellicult shall henceforth be tamed by young Faraday. As it joins your squad, it will be filling your second taming slot, which means for now, Rail Wraith is untamable officially.
Okay.
You can still use it in the train. I'm not going to
Mhm.
take that from you, but for now, it cannot be officially tamed until you find somewhere to keep either Bud or this Ellicult.
Okay.
So you have to store them somewhere. But what does that look like for Faraday? For something to officially join your squad? Your rift focus being your bandages. How does what does that look like? I'm here to help if you need it, but I'm just curious from your
So, like, what does
Your
the
vibe.
rift coat focus look like, or what is
what is the
Like what
what's that
happens?
process like? Like
Yeah.
for Callum, it's
The
like
tame
cranking the
succeeded.
lever.
Yeah, yeah.
and-
So
Yeah.
I literally put my hand out,
Okay.
almost like you're gonna like fire something at him out of your palm of your hand, but
Your ion
the
blasters when you make
yeah,
the suit.
Yeah. The wraps around my hand start to unravel, which
Oh,
shows
yeah.
some of the scarring on my hand, and then a rift opens up
Yeah.
to basically pull him in, and then when and if the taming is successful, my wraps change a little bit into a different color when he's inside my
Okay.
rift focus.
Have
So-
you decided on a color for what Ellicult would be?
Well, I was looking at the picture of him. He's a little bit grayish with some brown on
Yeah.
the bottom of his legs. So
Yeah.
I think what would look cooler is like the brown. So
Dude, I dig it. I dig it. Okay.
like a
So
little tan brown.
Yeah. So some streaks of tan and brown kind of swirl around on your bandages as this Ellicult happily joins the squad.
And then afterwards, any of the hay that I had left, I'll just feed to the other 6 Ellicult that are like looking at me.
They're like,
Be like, you hush your mouth.
Don't eat his hay! Don't eat his hay!
he disappeared! He disappeared! There's a wanted poster, but it's just like hoof marks. And they like try to draw a Faraday. Like, have you seen this man? And they're like, man, look at this weird art. That's crazy.
It took our brother.
They're like, we didn't like him, but he still took him. He disappeared. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, the other Ellicolts, all jokes aside, will happily
Heck yeah.
munch on some hay and then go about their normal business.
Then I'll probably seek
Yeah.
out Adelaide to take a look at. His name's gonna be Runt, or her
Oh.
name's Runt, because that was the outcast.
Mr. Winchester.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Walking through the streets of Shepherd District.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Winchester. What are we looking for? Walking around?
Yeah, I'm walking
Checking
around
out
the.
some of these pastures?
Yeah, I'm walking around the Shepherd's District. I'm gonna try to see if I can find somebody who would know of a tamer that is familiar to Buck. So it'd be like a ranch hand of some sort, but like would classify themselves as a tamer.
As you're walking about trying to get people to open up, you're in the right place for it. You're near the training grounds. So it's not impossible as people are talking and saying, no, I don't know anybody, to catch their eyes darting towards certain individuals. And most people seem to be looking towards someone that appears to be a mason. They've got like a big apron. They've got the kind of like a trowel kind of stuck into their belt. But she seems to be working alongside a tiny like puff of cloud almost. And there's just 2 little eyes sticking out of that cloud. But nobody gives you a name, and they're all like, I don't know anybody that tames at all. They all just kind of seem to be looking to one person or another. but more people than not will look towards this individual who, at the moment, seems to be kind of working near some degree of stone cutting tools.
Okay. Yeah, I'll approach him.
Okay.
Got a quick question for you, if you don't mind me intruding.
Not intruding at all. What can I do for you? And she'll kind of lean up, stand probably about 2-3 inches shorter than you. Kind of looking up towards you, pulls a mask up off her face, and there's just like stone dust from the nose down. But very, very long, braided, kind of gold and brown hair, kind of tied back, and there's just this little puff cloud. And every once in a while, it just goes. You here for mason work, or what do you need?
Not necessarily. I see that you have a little Riftkin companion-like fellow. I mean, I have one too, but Buck's gonna kind of like look over his shoulders, been like, I don't know how to get more. Do you? Like, I don't know how to properly handle these kinds of creatures.
Is Sticks out? Or is Sticks away?
Sticks would be away.
Sticks would be away.
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, you're asking about how to tame a Riftkin?
Well, yeah, and I'll kind of just gently unholster my right. I'm not gonna.
You're like, I'm realizing now that this is a threatening gesture. Hold on, it's okay. Don't panic. It's totally fine.
But I'm not gonna do all of that. But he'd put it on the table and he would like lay it down, shift that lever to where it shows like a small like little portal.
Yeah.
And then being like, if you don't mind, let me show you. And then he'll point it away like at the ground, and then
a rift will open and Sticks comes walking through. What's going on, guys? How's it going, dude?
So now I have one, but I don't know how to get more, per se, or use them.
You don't know how to use them?
Tame? Is that the proper terminology? Like, I don't know.
All right. Well, I mean, Dina here and I are pretty good pals, I think. And then a little tiny purple bird just...
Cool.
She just flew into the shop one day and decided not to leave, so we're pretty good pals. She's a bit of a wild card. Gets into fights every now and then, but more or less I keep her out of trouble.
So is it like so like do you she just stays here? Like, you don't put her in like something like this sort of deal, or?
Certainly not in a gun, no.
Well, yeah, that's a little weird.
I actually use this this compass, but yeah, it's Dina. You know, when she gets scared, I'll tuck her away. But for the most part, she's a free spirit. She's free to come and go as she chooses. But more often, she chooses to stay.
And if you don't mind me, how did you use your little compass to bring her into it without her already being in it, if that makes sense?
Ah, the first initial taming ritual.
Yeah.
It's nothing too complicated. A lot of the times, from what I've heard, it's a similar experience to what I had, where she showed up and there was a really bad storm, and it just kind of happened for us. I got this rift compass from my father. He was a woodsman, but she was panicked, and I wanted to help her out, and it just kind of happened naturally for us.
Okay. I think I kind of get it. So, all right, cool. I appreciate your help. Oh, by the way, Buck Winchester.
Oh, Cassidy.
Nice to meet you.
And you too.
So I don't mean to take up too much of your time, but do you just do weapons and armor, or?
Oh, I do stonework, masonry.
Oh, masonry. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So, bricks, shingles, things like that.
Oh, awesome. Buck will leave, and then kind of like look up and down the streets and stuff like that, and
And
try to.
everyone's right behind you. So, Bug, you don't know how to too? Oh my god. That's so funny.
And I'll just kind of see if I can see any hoof prints or breaks in like cobblestone for which way that Ellicolt and Squires went, because I know Callum was looking for a Squire, and he said don't forget the protocol. So
So go ahead and make a tracking test on the dirt and cobble streets.
20.
Okay. There are a great many prints and tracks here. This is a dirt road. But you're able to kind of like eagle vision your way. You're like I see everything. You're able to track tiny Ellicolt prints. Tragically, Squires very rarely, if ever, actually touch the ground because they're just being puppeteered. But there are Ellicolt tracks at the rate of like a small horse gallop, as opposed to walking and dragging cart groups behind. So you are able to tell that it was headed back north, which would have put it back into the city proper.
Okay. Well, then that's all I need to know, and I will go join up with the rest of the squad.
Okay. Yeah, it's as long as the three of you are still
They just
kind of
left
chatting.
like,
Yeah.
Faraday, it's pretty easy to find
We just wanted to
them.
talk to a pigsty
Yes.
farmer.
Yeah, so I'll say probably around the time that they're looking for you, you guys will be having the conversation that we're about to have. So you want to find someone that has a lot of pigsties.
Yes.
Probably what you'd be looking for is 2 or more gores,
Okay.
and or warhogs. The
Okay.
warhogs would be found outside of city limits. They are considered a dangerous animal, where a gore is dangerous but can be subdued.
Yeah.
It is at its core a large boar,
Yeah.
where a warhog is like
Big.
a
Big Bertha.
several 100-pound supernaturally dangerous entity. Looking around in the Shepherd's District, it's easy to see several different individuals with tens of pigsties. However, you would be more quickly drawn to an individual that is currently kind of walking around with one teeny tiny one.
Okay.
About yay big, like a mini pig.
Oh,
a mini
Cute.
pigsty.
Okay.
And they've got it that's like they're kind of doing the whole like milk bottle baby pig thing.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, that would probably be given what you're looking for, that would probably be the thing to track down. There's a young lady in bright blue overalls and a kind of a bandana thing. She's got this very bizarre kind of it's almost like the Doctor Strange like sling ring type deal. But there's a little bit of a kind of like a swirling, chaotic little bit of we'll call it a spark. It's probably the easiest way to describe it.
Okay.
Dancing kind of between her fingers. All the while she's just kind of holding on to this little baby pig.
We will approach.
Mhm.
Oh, what a cute little pigsty you've got there. He's so adorable.
Yeah, he's the handful. It's just and the bottle's just like constricting all the way down.
Did you cultivate this pigsty yourself?
I sure did.
That's
And he's just a little angel.
yes, absolutely.
Oh, he's very thirsty.
how many pigsties do you cultivate like a month?
Oh, usually just like one.
Oh,
Yeah, I
really?
just want to make sure that they're healthy enough to go
absolutely.
run free.
Absolutely.
This one's not being raised for food.
Um,
Some of them are. Some people like to, feast.
nice. What do you have a standard method for cultivating them?
Well, every pigsty's a little different. Like this one's always so thirsty, and he's just. And the bottle's just empty, and he's trying to like eat the entire bottle. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
hold on.
But
Just
as
pulls
far
out another one.
as far as like getting that initial spark.
Oh yeah, so to get the spark, you just have to kind of be around the pigsties for a while, and you just suck up all their energy. It's not as scary as it sounds.
You suck up all the energy?
But like in this
Yes.
device, yeah.
Okay.
Not
Gotcha.
personally. I'm not walking around with like a dustpan or anything.
Interesting.
You just spend enough time around the species, and eventually a spark will shoot into existence. And then you
Okay.
just cultivate it.
Well, it seems like you're doing an excellent job.
Oh, thanks.
And Adelaide will just be petting it. How old's the wee fella?
Oh, he's only like 2 weeks old.
Oh,
He
that's,
drinks so much milk.
he's,
It's really a problem.
he's a growing boy, I'm sure.
He's really thirsty. And he's down already. Another one's like, oh my.
Well, we'll let you get him another bottle. Seems like you've got your hands full.
Yeah, you sure do.
And we will walk away. And Adelaide will turn to Callum. Just be like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Callum's...
Pig heist.
No, we're not going to steal pigs.
I want that one.
I hope you're gonna say what I think.
No, I'm definitely not.
Okay.
I don't know what's in your brain, but it's not
Let's go
that.
suck up some pig energy.
Callum will basically respond with, yeah, we need to... I want to get my hands on one of those spark collector gadgets,
Yeah.
and we will return to the group.
Okay. We'll say you guys are able to reconvene at a reasonable pace. You guys have been apart for like 25, 30 minutes tops. It's nothing too crazy.
I'm gonna approach Adelaide,
Okay.
and I'm gonna release my Elocult runt with the Elocult in my arms because of the paw. I don't want it to hurt itself any further.
Well, you've been busy.
Yes, I found this Elocult that seems to have a hurt leg here, and I was wondering if you could take a look at it and maybe help.
Absolutely. Yeah, Adelaide will interrupt you and take a look at its leg, and then Callum will take a look at its leg, and Adelaide's just kind of like looking it over and getting a general feel for its vibe, its build, what kind of state it is in. Yeah, I think this won't be a problem at all. I'd like to take a look at him when we get back to the guild hall, obviously, and not do it here right in the street, but good work, Faraday. So did you go out that way and find a friend as well?
No, I was just taking a walk around some familiar territory. I enjoy just this kind of country-esque vibe, even in a big city. Oh, Callum, I found your little squire's buddy.
You saw the puppet?
Yeah, and he was riding on literally like a thing like that, like an Elocult, and he went that way. And I'll point north, towards the city proper.
No one else saw it but me and now you.
I mean, I think the entire Shepherd's District saw this thing clacking down the streets.
How did you guys not see it?
I mean, and I'll grab Callum by the wrist and be like, look, here's his footprints going that way.
All right, well, I want to follow them.
Let's go. I can show you.
So what made you decide to tame Runt?
He was all alone, and he seemed to be the outcast of the Elocolts in the fields. And since Sai helped me in need, I feel the need to help other Riftkin when they're in need.
That's very admirable.
And you just sucked him right into your bandages?
It's a little new to me, but when Sai attuned to my Rift Kit, which is my bandages, I got the simple understanding that really all it takes is just my hand out, and my bandages will naturally attune to something that wants to be tamed.
Makes sense.
It's kind of in a similar way. I hadn't really thought about it, but the way you described it is how I felt with the lever with Redtail. It just kind of was muscle memory, the desire and intention to do so, and it just kind of happens.
I've also had the same experience, although I only have Fizz.
I could see where it'd be a little difficult for you because I'd be a little intimidated to point the rifle at something and pull the trigger.
Well, and that's the thing. I've had my fair share of pointing guns at these creatures and whatnot, and I'm tired of doing more harm than good, so I want to make sure it's done right.
So are you on the lookout for another friend as well?
Potentially.
A specific kind in mind?
Nope. Some that'll fit the want, fit the need at the given time, and don't want to force anything that it doesn't want to be a part of.
I'm sure it'll show itself in the moment if it feels right.
I'll figure that out when it comes to.
Faraday, how much do you know about Ellicott?
I was taken out by when I was attacked. My village was attacked at Shockland. Was my
Aye.
first experience with the Ellicott breeds and what they can turn into. And I do know that they can be an incredibly great asset, especially when after we met the Blue Mare and how much it helped us with our mission or our jobs.
Absolutely.
But I'm looking forward to working with this Ellicott or Runt. I should correct my names because I want him to be more of a supply Ellicott. If I am to create this mech suit for this Rail Wraith, I think it would be great to train this Ellicott up to hold coal when we're not on the train.
Are you thinking of leaning towards the Earth affinity?
I was thinking of a Clydesdale or a Broncoal affinity. I feel like those would be probably the most successful in this plan.
Okay, hear me out. What if you could do both?
I would be interested to hear your thoughts.
How do you do both?
That is the intention behind the research I am trying to conduct. You may only be familiar with the Ravensword Labs due to its mysterious disappearance. However, what they were working on, if you've seen our friend Redtail here, is augmenting the Riftkin with additional typings. And I do have a hypothesis that if we were to alter an Ellicott before its evolution to a type that is different from what it evolves into, it will have two type affinities.
Mm.
Is it like harmful to them in any way? Can it kill them if it doesn't work right?
What are the repercussions?
Yeah.
So, in the early days of research, there are stable affinities that have proven successful with minimal risk, and it just so happens that Earth and Fire are in that grouping.
Mm.
Now, typings such as Metal, Undead, and Arcane are a lot more difficult and would tend to lead to disasters.
They're unstable.
Yes. Much like Draconic, actually, but somehow in the lab they were able to successfully complete that one.
Is this exclusively your research, or was Callum doing something similar?
Well, Professor Ravensword is sort of the pioneer of the research, but as I've mentioned, with only having stabilized a few affinities, I believe there's a lot more work to be done, and I'm wanting to expand on it and prove its use and how wide range it actually is.
So what if it doesn't work? What happens to...
I would imagine he would be, if we, let's say we were to pick the Earth affinity and then try to evolve him towards Fire affinity, I would imagine he would just stay Earth in that case.
So, like, whatever you kind of do to him now won't kill him or anything, but could possibly not shift it in the direction that you're hoping, but will shift towards the actual affinity.
Correct. I mean,
Okay.
we have much time to discuss and plan and do all that. I'm not saying we're going to do it right now.
Yeah.
He's still, we've got to work on his leg and his weight, and there's a lot of studying to be done. I'm not saying like go and
Yeah. No, I'm just I'm just generally curious because I mean I've never worked alongside scientists and stuff before, so it's just more of like a general curiosity. Because
my initial hypothesis with something like this would be to pick an affinity and work him towards that. Like, let's say Earth, and you train him with Earth, and Earth moves, and as he gets closer and you feel like that transformation's about to happen, then we would augment him with the Fire affinity and then let him take that final push towards Earth.
I'm willing to give that a try, as long as the Ellicott is of healthy stature, and there is no risk of hurting it more.
It's early days. I was throwing it out. I realize that was a bit of a lot to toss out there, but I was a bit excited and couldn't help myself.
So out of curiosity, Adelaide, with your research, what's the intention behind doing this?
The flexibility and utility, synchronicity between people and Riftkin. Let's say, for example, Faraday, in your days in the desert, you're well aware of the hydromedary Riftkin. If you are unfamiliar, it's like a large beast. Carries a lot of water in his back and is able to help with oases and water for people in the desert. But what if he could also be plant and help with reforestation, additional foliage, and instead of water, spread plant?
Yeah, you make fair points, but what if, for instance, let's say your research takes off and you're this big old scientist and everybody wants to do it and all that jazz. What happens if it gets into the wrong hands and gets to the wrong people and they augment it for warfare and all that kind of stuff?
That's a fair question. However, my biggest rebuttal is, has there been any advancement in any lifetime that hasn't been utilized negatively in one fashion?
No, this is a fair point, but that was just my first and kind of go-to. I mean, you've seen what these kind of weapons can do that my family have thrown out, so I just kind of wanted to see where your mind was with it and making sure that there was no ill intentions intentionally, if that makes sense.
Are you a part of the company?
Oh, good God, no. Dad wants nothing me to do with it. He saw that I was good with him, so he shipped me off to military school, and you weren't even here for our lovely conversation of everything. I'm going to kind of grab Faraday, and I'm going to put him in front of me. Those boarhead banners that you're looking for, the Hellkites, I used to be a part of them. And he kind of like winces back behind Faraday a little bit.
I just for a moment, like my eyes will turn that the color that they did in the tomb, and then I'll just like clench my fist and be like, I'm listening.
I used to run secret operations for them to do extractions, takedowns of certain Riftkin. Company I worked for in the section that I did pretty much don't like Riftkin and what they stand for and all the stuff that they do, so I was brought in to take out, capture by any means, and that was it. I didn't ask too many questions about it. I stopped about 7 years ago or so, maybe a little bit less. Took up sheriffing in Hemwick, and then started my own ranch.
Well, I admire your constitution to get out, your character to leave.
Took a lot, and that's that I wouldn't say it was me. It was definitely my wife. She was the one that helped us get out of there.
Yeah, you spoke of her earlier and you used the past tense.
Again, forgetting that you weren't part of that conversation. Yeah, they took her and blew up my home. So I'm looking for her. And I'll show you the little locket with the bullet hole in it, and it's a picture of me and her in it.
Is there any concern about them doing anything to your wife? Like, we can stop following these tracks now if this is an emergency. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think we would be okay kind of putting this stuff to the wayside and helping get her back, Buck.
I'd like to. Very much so. I need to find a lead of where to go to, because I'm kind of at a standstill right now. Yep. I'll keep track of the footprints, see if they veer, or if they go with, or...
They would head directly north from the Shepherd's District, which would put you into general housing from there. But once it goes from dirt to cobblestone, the tracks get a lot harder to follow.
As we're tracking that, I just want to keep an eye out for...
Okay, so you're on the lookout
I'm just
for
on the
wayward
lookout.
youths.
Yes.
Okay.
Always on the lookout.
Make an awareness test for the wayward youths.
7.
7.
Dude, I have mastery if you want.
Ooh, okay. I will accept Faraday.
Oh, 1.
I mean, listen, it's easy enough to see orphans, urchins, street rats on
Everywhere.
the street. They're everywhere. That's part of why Lao Tzu pays them. And part of why they take the money is it's better than begging for copper coins or trying to steal bread. Finding anyone that would particularly work with Lao Tzu, let alone would admit to doing so, especially after he's been caught, that's a tall task.
I'm gonna take out a gold coin and then just to the nearest, come here.
Make an influence test.
15.
15?
Come on, child.
Yeah, a very dusty young boy will walk over to you. Is that a gold piece?
Yes.
Is it real?
This gold piece can be yours. First, what is your name?
Who's asking?
I am
Well, what's your name?
T.
That's not a name, that's a letter.
That's correct, but it
Then
is
my
also
name's
a name.
B.
Are you interested?
You haven't told me what you want.
Oh, you're interested in the gold piece
For what?
for information?
Information about what?
I have 2 questions, and if
have
you
one
answer my
you
questions,
have one coin though.
I will get. Well, good at
This
math.
kid's hustling you.
One question, one coin.
I'll ask the first question first. And see if I like your answer before I make promises of a second coin.
What happens if you don't like my answer?
I won't give you a second coin for the next question
But I get one coin?
if you answer the one question.
Deal.
All right. Do you know the whereabouts of the child that was working with Lao Tzu?
No. Thanks. What's your second question?
Are you going to answer it?
What's your second question? I answered the first question. I don't know who that is. He's pretty hard to read for just like a street urchin, but
yeah.
asking a random kid if they know the kid that worked for a person.
Yeah. That's fair.
It's a shot in the dark.
Yeah. My second question is, have you ever seen the Hellkite banner in these parts
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it.
recently?
Well, what's Rethan to you? Your Rethan and my Rethan are very different.
Within weeks.
Yeah, probably about, I don't know, maybe a month ago, 3 weeks, somewhere around there.
Were they just passing through?
Yes. This has been 5 questions.
This is true.
Great. 2 questions answered, 2 coins paid out. This is great. But I answered 5 questions.
I'm not giving you 5 gold pieces.
Good luck on your quest.
Thank you, B.
Had a forever ally for just 3 more coins.
He'll skitter off. Arriving back at the speakeasy, and thus near your guild hall, as we show up. Colt and Ezekiel are currently wheeling and dealing, selling their. I keep saying they're on their grind set. It's an earworm today. They're working, selling some drinks, cooking up a little bit of food. So we'll get some nice some Yaz flute.
Callum would like to get a sheet of paper and draw on it for a short bit. And then he will ask Ezekiel if he can post a job on the job board.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Free range.
And he'll walk up and he'll post it up, and it's a crude drawing of the squires in a red coat and an offering of 20 gold for information pertaining to who this squires belongs to, and if they can bring it to me, there would be an extra reward.
I'll probably go up to Colt and just be like, you see who left the signature on this poster, or at least a description of him?
I can't say I did. We get a lot of people coming in, taking, posting, writing, all kinds of stuff. Job boards are fair game. We don't really clear them out anymore. Kind of just stack on top of one another. I did see a couple of our, shall we say, mutual acquaintances have been signing on with Duquesne.
Duquesne,
Might be something to look into.
All right.
I hear Duquesne's looking for a little bit of extra security for his rail line workers. Seems their accident a few weeks ago may not have been an accident. Word on the street is he's getting a little frisky.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll return back to probably our usual table, get myself and everybody around to drinks and food, hang out.
That's good.
Okay.
Can I just peek around? What are have the wanted posters changed?
As far as like have the job postings changed, there is
Yeah.
one fresher piece of paper that's been tacked on, so it's just like the most recent thing. It's somebody looking for a squires. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, I swear to God, I swear to God.
No, there's one posting written in like very fine calligraphy. It says rat catchers wanted on Highdale Farm. Mysterious occurrences necessitate the employment of investigators capable of self-defense and a lack of self-preservation instincts in the face of overwhelming or unknowable threats or dangers. Contact Mr. or Mrs. Highdale for information. 30 gold pieces available for complete resolution of circumstances. Pricing negotiable for information leading to a decrease in frequency of disturbance.
Is Gavrilo around?
If you want him to be.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. If you just go, Garçon, Gavrilo, and he goes, yes.
Gavrilo,
snapped.
I came across today a curious device that they use for cultivating Riftkin sparks. It's small, it fit on her hand, and it would absorb the energy from Riftkin to create a spark. Do you think you could acquire one of those for me?
Yes.
Thank you. Let me know how much it costs.
Okay.
But,
You want me to
but
go like
also,
right now?
Oh, yeah, what time is it?
It's like 3 or 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
will
would.
go right now.
Thank you.
Do you need anything else while I'm out?
Hello,
horse.
Yes. Could we get some splints? Leg splints?
For like
For
your leg is hurt?
for Runt here.
Oh, like
For his one of his legs.
for like horse leg.
Yes.
Okay. I will ask around.
Thank you.
I know a veterinarian, so perhaps they'll have
okay.
something.
Yeah, I mean even just a small flat piece of wood that size too might assist.
Would you prefer wood or the splint?
Splint
both?
ideally, but if you can't, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do this.
Anyone
I will
else?
do these things.
Gavrilo, I'm looking
Okay.
to procure some metal,
Okay.
about my size, in, I guess, steel, to
Oh.
create. How do I put this? An armor-like mech for the rail wraith that's in this bottle here.
I don't know what any of those words mean, but I will find you metal. I can do that,
Thank you.
of course.
Doing a good job, buddy.
Mr. Buck,
Thank you,
you can read
Gabriel.
anything?
Nope, you're doing a
Okay.
good job, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I
Okay.
need nothing.
You
Thank
need
you.
nothing? Okay. Alright, I will go do these things. I will see you when I have completed the tasks. There is a letter for you, Miss Adelaide.
Oh.
I left it in the guild hall. Do you want me to retrieve it, or it is in your space?
I can get it. Thank you for letting me know, though. That's very kind of you, Gavrilo.
Of course. I will go do these things for you now.
Thank you.
Good night.
Adelaide and Callum will get down near Runt, and we're just going to do some basic physiological tests with his leg to see if it's like a sprain or like a valley fever scenario, like it's the nervous system, or like what is the ailment that is causing the leg to be
It'll
not
be
as
a
functional.
a medicine test.
29.
All right.
He knows exactly
Yeah.
what's wrong.
So
She.
Runt at some point in the past experienced a leg injury
Uh-huh.
that did not properly heal. So a splint could over time
You're gonna have to break it again.
correct that.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to break it, but
No, I do.
given how young Runt is, there will probably be some degree of impediment
Yeah.
for life.
Yeah.
But you could definitely assist Runt in walking again. That's not out of the question.
So, Faraday, just going to be straight with you here. It seems to be a prior injury that may not have healed correctly. So, we have a couple avenues. The worst. Put that away.
Oh. Sorry.
That is the unacceptable. The worst option would be we re-injure him and heal it the right way. That would obviously be excruciatingly painful. Long term, may be the best, but it's with him being relatively new. We're not sure how he would act during that. Otherwise, we can try to do some rigorous physical therapy to try to get him to use it the best that he can in the way that it has healed. Or we can try to do something mechanical augmentative to assist. So if he has a harder time moving fast or pulling heavy objects, maybe we can create some kind of mechanical add-on to help him do those at potentially better than normal levels. So you have to decide today, or just the assessment.
What would you do?
I guess it depends on what kind of life you're hoping for Runt. If you were wanting him to be exceptionally nimble or active with you, it might be best to try to heal it the right way. But if he is just a companion that is going to be along with you for personal growth for you and him, then maybe just some physical therapy will get that done. So it all depends on what you kind of hope for from him.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Well, on that fun note, I found our mutual acquaintances. Looks like that they signed on to do some work for Duquesne Locomotives. I mean, you see the job posting with the snow, stuff like that? They were saying that they were getting into some trouble up there, so could be where they're at. I mean, if it's not them per se, they'll have some information on where they're at least centrally located or where they're stationed out and going to and being kind of shuffled around through Carcasso, so place to start.
How many of them do you think there are over there? I mean, I don't really want to walk over with just the 6 of us and there's 30 of them.
Depending on what they have to do and what they signed on to do, if it's just a typical security, could be anywhere between 5 to 10 of them.
Do you think they'd recognize, I guess, any of you, since you've all had run-ins with them? If we were to just walk up, do you think it would be trouble right away?
Me most likely.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
Him probably not, given the scars and...
I doubt they keep memory of those that they destroy.
So I guess what's your plan of action? Are we going there to just do recon? Are we going to interrogate them?
Yes.
Oh, just all
Kinda
of it.
Recon, see what is kind of going on if we can. Follow them, maybe, but if they're hanging around for a lot longer than like a day or two, then I think that's when we can do like a snatch and grab of one of them, or figure it out. And if I gotta do what I used to do, so be it.
So as I mentioned last, when we left the sewers, I'm not as skilled as all of you in terms of combat and battling and whatnot, but do you think maybe if they wouldn't recognize me, I could just walk up to them, be like, hey, have you seen my friend Mr. Buck's wife, whatever her name is, and she said she'd meet me here, and where's she at?
I probably wouldn't recommend it, because then now you have association with me. They'll probably question, interrogate you, and
It seems likely you would end up with his wife.
yeah. I'll do my best, but I think today we kind of take some time, rest up, celebrate a nice win over getting our first bounty as a group, and then maybe tackle it in the morning.
So, Adelaide, you excuse yourself from the table. Annette brings a round of food and drinks in the meanwhile. There's an extra shot glass handed to Buck, courtesy of the fella at the bar. There's a kind of wide-brimmed hat set very gently on a bar. Fella, he's got some kind of wiry but curly gold to gray hair. Little bit of a beard scruff. Pretty wide build. A little stocky. Just posted up at the bar. Doesn't look back. Just gives you the old cowboy salute from the side. It's from that fella over there. He said you're an old friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You have friends?
Is that really so hard to...
That was a good one, too.
Do I recognize a person from the back?
From the back, it's kind of hard to say.
I'd stay here. If you see anything happen, I'll give you a sign. And I'll kind of I'll slide my way out and I'll...
Does his voice crack like that, too, when he gets up? Or?
No, that was just Evan. Yeah, no, I'll slide up. I'll take both the drinks and I'll sit next.
Hearing Buck say that, I get up and I move to a different section of the bar area just to keep an eye.
Yeah, if you walk up and you sit yourself down, you'll see a Carcassoan man. The very, very tanned skin. It's a very bizarre look as you are staring at a native Carcassoan that spent a lot of time in Ciderland. But Sven Eichen has his hat on the counter. It is good to see you, Buck.
How are you doing here, Sven?
Hunting. Same as you, I imagine.
Probably not for the same reason, but what you hunting?
Some interlopers in the territory. They don't belong here.
Okay. You see where the old strike team is?
Oh, I have kept tabs on them, yes.
Where'd they go?
I think that is your journey, my friend.
Sven, you didn't tell them anything, did you, of where I was?
Oh, of course not. None of my business. I have not seen you in years, remember?
Yeah, well, they got a hold of her, so I'm trying to led me to here. I made some new friends. You know, I've never been good at that kind of stuff, but they seem like
to be
good
doing
people.
okay. They're happy in your company.
Yeah, now that I'm a little bit more open and honest with them, but
Open honesty is important.
to an extent, till it gets you caught or in a jam where you don't want to be in. But it's good to see your old ugly mug around here, though.
I thought you might have missed me.
A little bit.
I heard the news about your house and figured you would be in town soon enough.
First place I went to.
I taught you well then. Keep your ear to the ground. Go to the watering holes. Find
Yes,
a trail.
So you're just passing through? How long you staying?
Only for tonight. I'm on the trail of someone. I believe they may have left a message for you.
They did.
Yeah. I am tracking him now. He should be coming in soon. Now that the curfew is lifted, he is a little less predictable, but
Okay.
he was staying here.
He was now, was he?
Our mutual friend Ezekiel here tells me he bought a room through tonight, so if we are lucky, he will come walking through the doors and I will get to have a chat.
I'd like to be within earshot of that chat if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Well, I won't keep you too long, Sven. If you want, sit down, drink, some food, on me, of course. Maybe catch up a little bit. Introduce you to the new family, I guess, that we'll be traveling around with. And if a mutual friend walks through that door, feel free to excuse yourself.
I will let you enjoy your family for tonight, Bucky. But keep an eye out.
Alrighty, my friend. Well,
Watch your back.
always do.
New from the last time you've seen him, he has a series of tattoos on both arms, resembling kind of a spiraling bear claw interlaced with a serpent that kind of just goes all the way, presumably across the back of his shoulders and down the other side.
No, I'd kind of just take note of that and just kind of give him nice. And I'll make my way back to everybody else. Then I'll look over for Faraday and I go, give him a nod back over like it's okay.
Adelaide, you'll reach your space in the guild hall. There's a very fine letter with a Mackenzie seal.
Lovely.
You gonna read it there?
Who's it from? Does it say?
It says, now that it doesn't say from Graham because that's the wrong brother, there's an L on it.
Okay. I will take it back then.
Okay. then you and Buck will return to the table at about the same time.
Aye, perfect.
Very good.
It's a letter from my brother Lachlan, the train engineer. Let's read it, shall we?
Addy, glad to hear your studies are going well, and even better to know that you and Ravensworth are getting on with your research. As it happens, I do know where Sinclair's been leaving their scraps, but I'm not sure how you're going to afford the train or even access their yards without a sponsorship. If you need help, visit Sinclair's offices and ask for Ingrid. Tell her I sent you. She can get you set up nicely, so long as you don't blow anything up or set any fires. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care, Adelaide. L.
Did you read it out loud?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we can't take Callum.
Why not?
He blows things up and starts fires.
Well, we don't even know it was his fault when that one happened. And it wasn't an explosion, it was like a teleportation.
I'm teasing.
T just goes, I did a joke.
My mistake. I was jumping to conclusions on that one. But yeah, it seems if we go to Sinclair, ask for Ingrid, we can discuss getting some repair parts for that train. Fix it.
Maybe Ingrid can get us a smaller train engine, maybe for like a small cart, push cart, that I can use to create this little mechanism for this railway.
I would like to rest.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'll probably hang out here a little bit, get another drink or two, and then I'll see my way up.
Well,
Okay.
good night.
See y'all in the morning. I do want to check and see how Dr. Carroll is working on the railroad mini train system, and see if we have any.
I can't get the visual out of my head of the train like goes outside in like a little tube, but then there's like it can leave, and you guys like, quick, go down to City Hall. They're doing something, and just and it's like on the gutters of like a building, and there's like a super serious conversation, and then it pans out to like a rainy window. And there's just a train, and it just goes. They're like, man, the owls are really loud tonight. Just backing up into the guild hall, and then a ghost comes out. You're not gonna believe this. But yes, for now, Dr. Carroll has been piecing together the various little components that you'll need to build the track around the guild hall. You've got enough to go along like one wall so far. Callum, if you mark off 2 gold from a source, I don't care where you get it, at some point before the evening is through, Gavrila will return with a cultivator's band. About 14 individuals will come walking into the speakeasy.
Good luck.
One of which is a very well-armored individual with a metal arm that is kind of ends in a sort of curved claw. It seems as though he's had an amputation and has only recently been put back together. He would be a Sidron man if you could see his face, which for now only Buck would be able to. Standing next to him is another pretty well-armored individual with a long kind of curved blade at his side. Kind of slithering in next to him is an undead snake. Rather large one, in fact. Behind them would be a Wiccan individual dressed all in black, but all across his robes and armor is just this kind of trail of almost like snake-like red fire. Stood next to them is somebody in similar garb to Irida Hakon, but slightly more field-ready, in the garb of a physician. And then there are several just sort of foot soldiers, and then this one really bizarre, kind of creepy, floating person that's just kind of like zooming between the squad. In a similar manner to how Faraday maneuvers through space, shall we say. And stood amidst them is a very bizarre individual, stands about a foot shorter than the large Sidron fellow, completely head to toe masked in like black leather. There's nothing in the eyes. There's nothing crazy going on. Long black leather gloves as well. And they seem to be sort of muttering to themselves. And they are dragging with them somebody that both Sven and Buck will it would catch your attention. Beyond this bizarre menagerie of individuals that just walked in. One of the soldier types is currently rolling up a banner for them. And it is of the top half of a wolf skull with fire jettisoning through the bottom jaw and a sort of red shimmering ruby type gem in one of the eye sockets. And it's currently being rolled up as they no longer need to bear the standard, for they are within a place of business.
Do I recognize that banner?
Make a history test with difficulty.
Oh, perfect.
0 plus 3, so
0
3.
plus 3, so 3.
We rolled 3 threes. All the dice rolled threes.
Okay. The banner itself does not ring any bells.
Okay.
It's extremely distinct. You would know if you'd seen it. They do appear to be some degree of registered company, because Colt and Zeke give a nod and a friendly welcome to what would otherwise be like very unsettling individuals. The individual dressed in the all black will slide over to Colt, and in a just menagerie of voices, kind of just slithers out of this mask. 2 months back pay. Thanks for your patience, darling. Thanks. Wasn't sure you guys are coming back. Good journey? Highly profitable. The device worked wonders. All right. Guildhall's still yours. And the large Sidron in the heavy armor will slap down a satchel of coin and count out a few extra gold pieces for the animals in the stable and for your patience. In the time we were gone, thank you for not renting out the hall. Colt goes, wouldn't dream of it. Wouldn't hate to lose your business. And there's like this glimmer of fear in the eyes, but Colt's got a pretty good poker face.
Do I recognize that voice?
That one? No, not necessarily. It's just definitely a military vibe to it. It's very official. But the individual they are dragging is currently unconscious. Seems from a bonk on the noggin. Sizable amount of blood pooling down the head. Almost certainly a concussion. A thick scrag of brownish hair up top, shaved on the sides, with a very distinct tattoo, which is what will give them away for Buck. It's almost like a 3, but kind of inverted. And there's a kind of gash down the side, and you realize that through the blood, it's a musical note. But this would be an individual that was in training with you way back when. This is one of the few people that's ever called you Bucky. Goes by the name of Sam Tully. One of the smaller soldiers is carrying an extra bundle of supplies that you gather is probably his. There's a Winchester revolver tucked into the side and a Fisk shotgun that is strapped on there as well. As the very bizarre individual clad all in black walks by Sven, your room is ready for you, Mr. Icon. We'll see you soon. Don't be late. And they'll just kind of saunter past and just trail a very gentle hand on his back, despite how threatening that last voice was. As Sven looks towards the individual that's got the kind of weird trailing fire on their armor. Whisper, is it okay if I bring a +1 tonight? I do not care as long as you clean up afterwards. He'll kind of trail off. You still in, Buck?
Always.
Grab your friend's shoulder. I will grab his legs.
Okay. Yeah, knowledge system.
Okay. As they lead you to a different guild hall from the Signature 6. Down a different road, a few different avenues away. Trail you through. You end up walking just in step with a few of these individuals. One of them will look to the other. Hey, Rat Trap, who's the new blood? I got no clue, Busker. I ain't never seen that guy before. Apparently he knows Sven, so maybe he's friendly. And another very small individual, looks like maybe a 14, 15-year-old girl, just starts yipping and kind of barking. And Buck recognizes that one. It's the girl you found in the woods. Recently patched up slightly. As now the low voice of Whisper suddenly becomes familiar to you as well. You'll gather his name as you walk back. The strange, dark-clothed individual and the captain of this outfit will excuse themselves and walk into a different hall. As they leave, you, Sven, Whisper, and Sam Tully, all by themselves. If you are ready, I will awaken him.
I'll look towards Sven and be like, "You're taking point on this one."
Sven will kind of unbutton his shirt and coat and toss them off, revealing the full extent of the bear tattoo. And rather than a bear kind of in a weird dance with a snake, it is a bear ripping a snake in half. And on closer inspection, that snake resembles the near mythical Basilice, being pulled in twain by a bear covered in wounds. And with every breath, the fur of the tattoo on his back begins to kind of ripple down. And he'll kind of roll his shoulders, and if it were to have been a pelt of a bear, that sort of bit of its head would coalesce over his eyes. And there's just this weird bear fur kind of liquid tattoo that rolls over the top of his head. And he'll crack his knuckles and let out a subtle roar as Whisper cracks a little stick of something under Sam Tully's nose. He'll rocket awake. Oh God, it's you! And that's where we'll end for the week.